Welcome to This Week in Bearcat Athletics. I'm Matt Gaarder. Well, after a couple of road trips last weekend, the Northwest Missouri State volleyball team will be back at home for Friday, Saturday matches. Women's soccer will also return to Bearcat pitch after being on the road a week ago. They'll be in action both Friday and Sunday. And for the Northwest Missouri State football team, they'll look to bounce back to their first loss in 21 games as they try to start a new winning streak this weekend. More about all of that coming up on This Week in Bearcat Athletics. The Northwest Missouri State football team saw its 21-game winning streak come to an end on homecoming last weekend at Bearcat Stadium. Big part in the game, a 28-0 lead built by Pittsburgh State in the first 20 minutes of the game, including recoveries on 2 onside kicks. Bearcats eventually lost the game 35-17. Northwest head coach Adam Dorrel says that there were breakdowns for the Bearcats in all 3 phases of the game.
The thing that was disappointing is that a lot of the things that we talked about, being ready to take Pitt's best shot, their backs are against the wall. Be ready for anything, things like that. Be prepared to change the momentum. A big buzzword for me is 1/11th, especially in times of crisis. Don't try to do too much, and we didn't do any of that stuff. And so that was very disappointing for me personally and our coaching staff. I know, and hopefully it's something we'll learn from and grow from. So it's something we need to learn from and grow from if we want to try to have a good rest of the season.
Jared Fox ended up as the Don Black Award winner for the homecoming game as the most valuable player for the Bearcats, as Fox had a tremendous game with 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery defensively for Northwest. The Bearcats move on and go back on the road as they take on Fort Hays State in Hays, Kansas this weekend. Hays comes in with a record of 4-3 after a 24-21 win over Emporia State last week. Northwest head coach Adam Dorrel says the reason Hays is so much better is because they've got a lot more experience than they've had in the past.
Fort Hays State's a really good football team. I think, number one, their depth, their experience. If you look across their roster, offense, defense, special teams, they have a lot of kids that have played a lot of MIAA games. And so the thing that really sticks out to me is they have playmakers on offense. They've got a couple receivers that if they get it in the open field, they're gone. They've got a quarterback who's very elusive and has been a playmaker all year for them. Flip it over to the defensive side of the football. I mean, they're playing a one-high safety. I mean, they're daring you to try to get vertical routes on them because their free safety is very talented. I think he's one of the best in the league. And then they're playing 7 defensive linemen right now that most of those 7 kids are either 2 or 3 year starters in the league. They're really good on the defensive line.
The Bearcat football team will look to start its next winning streak this Saturday at 2 o'clock in Hays, Kansas. The Northwest Missouri State women's soccer team had a rough road trip out west this past weekend, losing a 3-0 decision to Fort Hays State in Hays, Kansas, and on Sunday, 1-0 to the University of Nebraska-Kearney. The Bearcat soccer team gave up 2 of the 3 goals to Hays in the first 10 minutes of the game, and Northwest coach Tracy Hosa says the Bearcats need to work on positioning early on in matches.
Yeah, we panic a little bit and we ball watch. And what we tell our players is, one person goes to the ball and then the rest of us will cover and balance and fill in those gaps. And what happens is we just tend to just ball watch and we fill in and we get too compact and we let spaces free for the team to attack, and that's what we did against Fort Hays. Once you talk to them and explain it, and they get it, after that, but it's a little bit late when you get it after the fact. And, with having some transition going on within the team, that it's hard to keep a momentum going and working on that, where sometimes you put somebody new in that hasn't been in and then they have to get it within 5 minutes. It's pretty intense.
The Bearcat soccer team will have its last 2 home matches of the season coming up this weekend. They will face Lindenwood on Friday afternoon at 3:30 at Bearcat Pitch and follow that up with a matchup against a top team in the MIAA, the University of Central Missouri, on Sunday at noon, also at Bearcat Pitch. The Northwest Missouri State volleyball team will be returning home this weekend, looking to bounce back from a 3-game road losing streak. The Bearcats last weekend lost a pair in Kansas, losing to Washburn and Emporia State. This week, the volleyball team will match up against the University of Central Oklahoma in a Friday night match at Bearcat Arena starting at 7 o'clock. They then will face Missouri Southern on Saturday in a 2 o'clock afternoon matchup before going up against the University of Central Missouri on Tuesday, also at home. The Northwest cross-country teams ran in their final meet before the MIAA championships last weekend as they traveled out to Hays, Kansas for the Tiger Open on Saturday. Top finishers for the Bearcats were Ann Herbert, who finished 5th in the women's race. Drew Kiefer, running unattached for Northwest, did finish in 27th. The two teams finishing in 12th on the men's side out of 17 NCAA teams. The women finished 10th out of 17 teams. The Bearcat cross-country teams will be off until November 8th when they run in Bolivar, Missouri as a part of the MIAA Conference Championships. That's This Week in Bearcat Athletics. I'm Matt Gaarder.